So today I'm going to unbox this new dash camera that I recently purchased from Amazon. It's the DDPAI Z50 dual channel dash cam. This is a product that originates from China. As you can see here, it's made in China. It comes with the Sony IMX415 sensor for video processing. Let us see what do we have as part of this package, and I'll slowly take you through the contents that each of these boxes have. So as you notice, there are two boxes. This is for the front camera, this is for the rear, right? So not typically everybody purchases dual channel cameras. Sometimes they opt for the front one and then separately purchase the rear later. To start with, here is what you have as part of the front camera. Yeah, so this is the camera. You can see the form factor, how small it is. It will be, mounted onto the front windscreen using this double-sided tape. There will be a layer of electrostatic film that is supplied with the camera, which we will use to. In terms of the connections and power, the USB Type-C cable is USB to Type-C cable is going to get used to power this camera. This is for the same, and then you have a micro jack here, a micro socket, wherein you will insert the micro jack originating from the rear camera to feed the input from the rear camera onto the front one, so that they will be processed together, right? That's about the camera. As I notice here, this, as it says, I can fairly guess, yeah, so this is the user guide. It's in multiple languages. Most likely it is going to contain details regarding various buttons to be used, and then apart from that, I think there will be guidance in terms of the application installation and configuration, etc. Then, as part of the same pack, you have this extra double-sided tape that is supplied. This is for the front camera. Then you have this card with the QR, which you will have to use for registering the warranty of your product, right? And then you have these two electrostatic films to be used to mount the camera, one for the front and one for the rear. So that's about the content in the plastic pouch. Apart from that, you also have the main power cable. So as you notice here, it's USB to Type-C. So this is the cable for powering up the front camera. Rather, I would say it is the cable that you will use to power up even the rear camera, right? So this is the 12 volt to 5 volt adapter that is supplied within the box itself. You'll be using the 12 volt socket, and then the USB gets connected here, and this will be connected to your front camera. Yeah, and then you also have this prying tool. It's a very helpful tool, especially if you want to route the wires from behind the roof liner, because at times it becomes difficult to use any other tools which are sharper, and you may end up damaging the roof liner. But this is going to be really helpful. So let's just see what we have as part of the box for the rear camera. This is the rear camera, and pretty small, but I've seen most of the dual channel cameras that you see in the market today has similar looking cams. You would also notice this mounted at the back of most of the cars today, right? So whether it's 70 MAI or this one, it's all same, right? So this is the one. It's not a small short cable. In fact, this is the cable that would get connected to the main cable here, which runs pretty long, right? So you will see that this gets connected to this one, and then it runs all the way through the rear boot door, and then passing from rear to the front behind the roof liner. And I was showing you on the main camera that there is a micro socket for this micro jack, which we'll use and feed inputs from the rear camera to the front. So that's about the content in the second box. I still feel there is something more. Yeah, so yeah, you have the user guide for the rear camera. Now I believe why this is supplied separately and not part of the primary camera is for the same reason that many people opt to buy the rear camera later after they purchase the front camera. So it is helpful that way, that you have a separate user guide only for the rear camera. And same way, like we had an extra sticker for the front camera, you have one for the rear as well. So that completes the unboxing process. If I have to just keep things next to each other, just to give you an idea of what this contains. So you have these two extra double-sided stickers. You have the user guide for both the main camera as well as the rear camera. Then you have two electrostatic films. Then you have this main cable along with the rear camera for the rear camera itself. Then you have the power supply cable for the front camera, which is actually going to power up both the front as well as the rear cameras together. Then you have this 12-volt adapter. Apart from that, here is the camera itself, right? So I'm going to place it here so that it's part of the view, right? So that's about it. The way I want to install this is going to be a little different. I'm not going to make use of the 12-volt socket that is supplied in the car. Instead, I'm going to create a separate wiring harness and independently power this camera up, not using the hardwire kit, but rather I will create one more 12-volt socket using the fuse tap method. This section of the video is step by step go through the process of making the custom harness that I was referring to in the previous section, right? So for the custom harness, we'll need the 12-volt socket itself. Apart from that, I have kind of arranged everything else that I would be using in the making of this harness. So starting with the automotive gauge wires, both for the negative as well as the positive. Then there is a set of terminal connectors that I'm using. In this case precisely, I'm going to use two spade terminals and one ring terminal. Apart from that, I have this low profile mini fuse tap, appropriate for using in most of the Japanese cars, especially Maruti and Toyota. Then you have the 12-volt socket itself, again purchased from the internet for as less as $150, right? So it comes with two terminals here, where I'm going to use or plug these spade terminals, one for positive and one for negative. It's clearly marked. If it's not marked, it's pretty easy. The centermost part where you can see the metal, exposed metal, is actually the positive, and what you see in the cylinder area is the negative. This is how typically a 12-volt socket is. In case you do not see positive and negative marked, you can always use this logic and also test this with a multimeter. Apart from that, I have the cable sleeve here, the rubber cable sleeve, which I'll make use to make sure that the harness comes out professionally well. Then you have some tools like these, a wire cutter, the crimping tool, the scissors, and as well as the automotive tape here. And then of course you can also see the multimeter here. So let's begin the process of making this harness. So what I've done now is I have cut both the red color wire for the positive and the black color wire for the negative based on my requirement. The red is shorter because it is going to get attached to the fuse tap itself, so this is going to be the total length. The black is slightly longer, mainly because I went into the car to understand what would be a good location to attach this ring terminal, or mount this ring terminal onto the metal area, right? So, and that was little far away from the glow box, closer to the footwell area, or rather closer to the firewall area, right? So this is the reason why you see that the black wire is a little longer. And also what I did was I had these sleeves to insulate or secure the wires further. So I just cut them according to the length of these two wires. So now let's go ahead and actually start making this harness, right? So what we'll do first is we'll just skin the positive wire so that we can connect it to the other side onto the already available terminal here. Yeah. And then make use of this crimping tool and lock it in place. So you can see that here it's locked securely, so no need to insulate this further because this is already insulated. In case you want, you can just wrap a round of either an insulation tape or this tape, which is an automotive grade felt tape, right? So that is something you can do. I'm going to skin the other side as well now, but I will not twist this, mainly because I want to make use of the surface area of this to spread inside, and when I press this connector it holds up securely, right? So before that, let us just pass the sleeve onto this one. I hope, yeah, this is quite thick enough to ensure even the butt connector was able to get inside. What do we have on this side? Yeah, I think the lengthwise it's just about good. So you can see that I'm just passing this into this spade terminal, just about the right length. Then I'm making use of this spade crimp terminal, or rather the crimp tool, I'm sorry, and slowly pressing it right here in the center. Yeah, to make it a secure connection, right? So you can see that it no longer moves. So now we will do the same for the black wire as well, which is for the negative. I'll just skin this a little bit, just about how much it is required. Twist a little bit, because without twisting it may become difficult for us to pass the wire inside, right? And then place it again exactly here in the center and give it a gentle push. Not much, might need to press a little bit more. There you go. Yeah, so this is secure, and you can no longer pull this and detach it. Then what I'll do is I'll just slide the sleeve into this. So you can do it without the the sleeve as well, but the reason I'm doing this is to make sure that the execution is clean, and also there is a bit of secure layer on top of the wire that is exposed, which I didn't want to have. So that's the reason why I'm doing it. So this is the uninsulated ring terminal. While this was an insulated terminal connector, this is uninsulated. You can see that there is no insulation whatsoever on top of this. So what we will do before I actually start fixing the terminal is have a piece of heat shrink tube passed along, and then it is useful for me to just I'll just cut this. Should be good enough in terms of length. I will pass this first, then I'll make use of, I might need to use a pair of pliers just to narrow this down a bit, because it's a little wide, so that I can easily use the crimp terminal to secure this further. So now let us try to make the connection final by ensuring that we have these spade terminals connected to the right terminals on the 12-volt socket. So this is the positive, and you can see that it's marked here. So I'm going to just slide this into the positive terminal, right? And this is the negative, and I'm going to slide this into the negative terminal like this. Yeah. So our circuit is complete. It's time to test for its functionality, for which I have AC to DC converter, which I'm using to test this now. So what I'll do first is carefully connect this crocodile clip onto the fuse taps terminal. There's very less surface area, so I just have to make sure that the metals are touching each other. and then the negative to this one. What I'll do is I will also insert this 12-volt adapter, and if I turn on the switch of the power supply, you should see that the 12-volt socket itself, not the socket but the 12-volt adapter itself, is illuminated. So the circuit is working as expected, no issues whatsoever. And after this, what I'll do is I'm just going to go and install this in the car along with the dash camera, which I'll cover it as part of the next section. Let me turn this off so that you can also see the illumination going away once the power supply stops working. There you go, so it's working. How a fuse tap works. So what you see here is a low profile mini type fuse tap. That is, depending on the type of fuses that your cars use, you'll have to order the appropriate fuse type. Since Maruti Suzuki Baleno uses a low profile mini type fuse for the fuse box inside the car, I ordered a set of that. Now, in terms of construction, you will see that this section of the fuse tap represents a typical fuse, and then there are two fuses or slots for two fuses on top of this. The way it works is, when you push this into the existing slot of your fuse box, the 12-volt is going to enter from this side. It means once it enters from this side, there is 12-volt available at this terminal as well as this terminal. So which means this entire section is available for you to tap the 12-volt. But it will not get to the other side till the circuit is complete through the fuse. Which means if I pass the 12-volt here, it is going to travel all along here, and then through the fuse it is going to enter the circuit and then finally towards the load. Now it is easily understood here that this fuse is going to do duty for the load that you are going to add as part of the new circuit that I have created, whereas this fuse is the circuit for the original load. Which means, let us say for example, I find the fuse that is related to the rear USB port as the one that I'm going to use for powering up the additional 12-volt socket that I've created. So I'm going to remove that fuse and put that in here, right? Once I put that in here, and then in the same place where I removed the fuse from, when I insert this fuse tap, this circuit alone is going to take care of two things. One is it is going to take care of the USB rear 12-volt port through this fuse, and then this fuse is going to be responsible for taking care of the load on the accessory that I'm going to add. So this is how typically a fuse tap works. So let me give you a demonstration of this by simply removing this fuse and show you how the construction of the fuse tap itself is. So you will see that I'm going to first put this multimeter towards continuity setting. So there's an audible beep for us to hear. So I was explaining that the voltage enters from here and it is always available on this terminal and this terminal. So let's just check that here. Yeah, you can see that here. And of course this and this also will be interconnected. So all of this is one, right? But without a fuse, the voltage will not get passed to the other side. Similarly, that's the case here as well. Now when I connect, or when I insert this fuse into the fuse slot here, and then do the continuity test, you will see that there is going to be an audible sound indicating that the voltage is flowing from here through this fuse to the load. Similarly, if I put one more fuse here, I can then test these two terminals. It is going to beep because the voltage is entering from this side, passing through this fuse and exiting from this side. So this is how typically a fuse tap would be helping me to effectively utilize the 12-volt available as part of the existing fuse box in the car without tampering or skinning any of the factory wires. So now we'll use this electrical insulation tape. This is actually a waterproof tape that is used by the electricians. Should be easily available in any of the local electric shops. So it's a very handy tool. I'll show you why. Right, so let's remove both sides of the wrapping. You will see that on one side it's pretty plain and the other side has got this matrix, and this is how the tape would hold when you wrap it around. So I'll start like this, and you can keep pulling this. You can notice it keeps getting stretched, right? Yeah, you can see that here. So I'm just making sure that both the 12-volt socket and the adapter, the tape surface is actually, getting held on both of these surfaces. So there you go. So it's a pretty secure connection now. I'll cut this exposed part so that it doesn't cause any hindrance while inserting the cable. So you can see this is very rigidly fixed, so it will never come out, right? And that's about the 12-volt socket. So before we actually install the camera in the car, let us do some basic checks, including inserting a memory card in, right? So this camera did not come with a memory card. So the memory card that I'm going to use is this. I have not purchased this separately. In fact, I had a spare one from the camera that I'm using in another car. So I'm going to use that here for demonstration. So to insert the memory card, you just lift this cover on one of the sides and okay, it's not in this direction, it is actually in this direction. It's easy to understand when it gets stuck in between that it's not the right direction. So to insert it, you can either use your nails or just use some tool like this to put it in place and then cover this lid. Apart from that, we will also spend some time to turn on the camera and check some settings, including the functions of these 4 buttons. So to turn the camera on, I'm going to use a mobile charging cable from one of my old chargers. So it's not a fast charger, hence the flow of current is not going to be significant to damage the camera. So as soon as you connect it, it powers up. And it's loading. And it has 4 buttons, and each of these 4 buttons, as you notice here, let me remove my hand so that you can see what the camera is capturing from its field of view. So there are 4 buttons starting from the left. The first one, if I press, is for muting and unmuting the recording. The second one is for the settings, and there are 3 different settings once you enter the settings menu. First one is for the screen display as well as volume. So if I press enter here, there are further 3 more settings within that. One is for the brightness of the screen. I can toggle between high, mid and low, right? So we'll keep it at high for the purpose of recording this video. Then if I move right, this is the volume. I have set this to volume off before I started to record this so that there's less disturbance. But if you turn it, if you turn this on, then there will be audible beeps each time you press the buttons, right? So I will just turn this off, and then the third option here is the screen protector. So what it means by screen protector is nothing but the screen saver. So once the camera screen goes off, what happens to the screen? Should it stay completely off or should it display something? That's the meaning of this. So currently if I use, before that, let's understand what are the options available. So first one says screen protector, PAI assistant. The second option is screen off, which actually means that the screen will completely go off while the recording is in progress in the background. The third one says time plus rec, which is record, right? So let's see what happens in each of this by coming back to the home screen and pressing the button. So first, let us keep this as PAI assistant and let's come out of the menu. Let's press this button. So yeah, this is an not really interactive, but it's just a animated screen saver that you see here, and it keeps changing depending on how fast, how slow you're driving, and other factors too. So let's come back here, wake the screen up. Again, go to the settings, enter the screen settings, come to the screen protector and change this to screen off. And if I come out of this and Yeah, press the button, the screen goes off, although the recording is still in progress in the background. Then let's try the last option. Again, enter the screen menu. Currently the screen is off. I will use the time plus record option now. I'll come out of this, and if I press this, I'm kind of replicating the screensaver function. So this is what will be displayed once the actual screen turns itself off. You will be able to see the time and the record icon there, which is going to indicate that the current video is being recorded, or the camera is currently recording the video. Let us again wake this up. Go back to the settings, come to the second option here, which is function settings, and let's see what do we have there. There are three options: recording off, recording on. So this is basically the recording of the audio in the background. Currently it's off, we'll keep it that way. Then you have the collision sensitivity. This is to do with the G-Shock sensor. Basically, if there is a collision or if you jump over a pothole, it tries to save that file separately till you manually delete it. Otherwise, every file gets overwritten once the memory card is full. So three settings here: mid, high, and high, right? So for now, I'm keeping this off. Then you have power off settings. Let's see what do we have there. Yeah, so there is some description given here, which says auto shutdown after 15 minutes of parking for vehicles whose car's cigarette lighter is powered on after parking. So yeah, this is a good feature because there are many cars that I've seen where the 12-volt socket is permanently on, which means the camera will continue to record. So if this function is turned on, the auto power off is turned on, it means that after 15 minutes, even if you're outside the car and the car is locked, despite the power being supplied to the camera is going to turn itself off. So these are the three settings here. And if I come out of this, we come to the last setting option. Again, within that, there are 6 different settings. So there is this Bluetooth, which is to do with an external Bluetooth remote not supplied with this camera. So we'll skip this. Then there is a format option. Let us actually format the card, right? So yeah, it started to format. So formatting took around 12 to 13 seconds, but it completed the format. Then the third option, of course, is for factory restore. So if you select this, then everything gets restored to factory settings, including date and time, and all the other settings as well. This is for the language selection. Currently it's English. If you select any other language, the menu is going to get displayed in that specific language that you choose. Then of course there is this help section, and finally the about section, which actually talks about the manufacturer, the serial number, the specifications, etc. Let's come back. So that's about the menu functions of this camera.